Hi everybody! Hi Tamal!
Hi.
How are you doing?
Fine.
Since you're here, you wanna do the Ned Stark episode chapter?
Yeah, I just read it. Nice episode.
Yeah. So if we're here and if all our viewers are here, so let's talk about it. This is the fourth chapter of a Game of Thrones. We're doing a reread. If you're just coming onto this video for no particular reason, and in this chapter, this is the chapter that the long lost friends Ned and Robert are reunited 15 years after Robert's rebellion, 9 years after the Greyjoy rebellion. The stag and the direwolf had joined to end the pretensions of the self-proclaimed king of the Iron Islands. It's such an epic and rich story. It's basically, as you've been saying for a long time, a historical novel. So Robert comes to Winterfell all the way from King's Landing to offer Ned to be his hand of the king and to wed his son with Ned's daughter. Boom. Joffrey and Sansa. So that's a great chapter right there.
Yeah, it's. I really like this chapter. It's like they're so good friends, Robert and Ned, but they're kind of like opposites too. Ned is like very honorable and quiet, a second son. Robert is like the elder one, a leader, a fighter, very extrovert. Likes the ladies, likes the drinks, likes the games. Very different than Ned was just like honor bound, lawful. Kind of a boring guy actually. In my opinion, the best way to start a story like that, an epic story, is from the middle. And I mean, like, the events that you see in the present of the story are all connected to some, some historical event that happened in the past. And as a reader, you're like the historian slash archaeologist. Like, you need to unveil and expose
together the
the
story.
mysteries of the past and how they are connected to what you're reading now. And we see in this story, after 5 or 6 chapters already, how much it is rich with history, and the events of the past are playing a role in the present of the story. And I'm talking about Robert Rebellion and the Greyjoy Rebellion, and the fact that the throne, even for the winners, for the winning side, is never safe. There's always somebody who wants to take it. And all the relationship between Ned and Robert and Ned's sisters and Robert, we see that unfolds in this chapter.
For me, the first thing that drew my attention is how Robert is trying to recreate the old days. He's getting the band back together, doing a selfie, we're back together, the band is together again, boom. But it's not the same. It's not the same. Like, they're always, like he says, like, gods, those were the days. I want you at my side again, Ned. I want you down in King's Landing, not up here at the end of the world. So he wants Ned together with him, not because Ned is the best man for the job. Objectively, we're going to talk about that maybe a little bit later. But because he wants Ned beside him. He wants his friend. He's been bored, and ruling has been very, very hard for Robert.
Yeah, ruling has taken its toll on Robert. There's like a symbolic thing. Then when they describe Robert, when they made it, he's described his smell. His perfume now. He has a smell of perfume instead of blood and leather, and he's fat. So it seems like Robert, the toll of ruling, or the burden of ruling, has made Robert a dull boy, basically. And he wants to play. He still wants to play. He enjoys the battle. He enjoys the conquer, whether it is territory or women. And ruling just it's stagnant. It's like it's boring, and he wears a perfume, but to disguise his rottenness or something. He's getting rotten,
Right,
sitting on his throne.
and he says, "I swear to you, sitting a throne is 1,000 times harder than winning one." So as you were saying, we start the story in the middle, basically after the hero wins and the happily ever after. What happens afterwards? And afterwards, he won the throne. And now we see, okay, so the start of the story is basically the disappointment of winning. Or maybe winning is not everything and not as it seems. Right, it's like maybe like a couple, instead of doing like the romantic comedy, you watch the movie about a couple 15 married for 15 years and basically hating each other. Okay, so Robert, so we say he's charismatic, he's basically lovable, right?
Yeah, he's very likable. He's very funny, and I don't know. We need to unlearn what we have learned. So we need to go back, to the times when we didn't really know who King Robert was. And first impression is that, he's a good king, commanding. He likes his friends. He's nice to his friends. But there's some foreshadowing there that, only in rereading the story you can really take notice of, like the small details. For example, the way Cersei looks at him and he like dismisses her when he goes to the crypt to visit his lost, his old lover, basically.
Right.
And he's like, okay, take care of the kids, go away. And Cersei looks at him and looks at her brother or something.
Right.
And
she's right.
He's blind. He's blind to the dangers. We can't really tell from first, reading it for the first time. You can't really tell what's the deal with him and his wife. But in the second or third or fourth or whatever reread, you can say this is foreshadowing. His blindness towards his wife, towards the Lannisters, will be his downfall.
She's actually right. Like when she says the dead can wait, we've just reading here for 2 months or something. Let's get a shower and then go there. So he's actually being a prick to Cersei. Also, speaking to what you were saying about like the little things in reread, it says that he is surrounded by Lannisters, right? Like a river of gold and silver, a pride of bannermen and knights, a pride that's lions, right? A dozen golden banners emblazoned with the crowned stag of Baratheon. And he says that he's surrounded by flatterers and fools. So even though he is this hero, he basically is surrounded by the house of a totally different family. And I love the way that like Ned is like celebrity watching, saying, "Oh my God, here is the Kingslayer, and oh, this must be the imp, and this is Cersei and her children." Like, it's different when you read it. Like if you see the characters, so you just see them, but here you can imagine them, and they don't know. It's like the first time that he's meeting basically his best friend's children, and he doesn't like his family, like his wife's family. So yeah, that's also some foreshadowing for some future trouble.
Robert is a complete mess. Ruling is definitely not for him, and he looks unhealthy, and he's kind of being honest with Ned and said, "Go back, be in my hand, do all the stuff while I can drink and whore myself to an early grave." And that's like, a sign of depression, maybe.
Right.
He won't kill himself, but he's doing anything just to die slowly.
Right.
The super, stuff that are exciting, like sex and drugs on a high octane level. Until he dies, and Ned will pick up the pieces. And it seems like this is kind of like a familiar place in their relationship. Ned is like the one that is picking up the pieces and talk to all the girls that Robert has gave AIDS to.
So basically, he's like his manager paying off sexual assault victims of Robert.
Exactly, he's like Louis C.K.'s manager. Yeah.
Okay. You were telling me before that you got the sense that Robert is afraid of Tywin Lannister.
Well, who wouldn't be afraid of Tywin Lannister? But it seems like the way that Robert is, catering to the Lannisters. He married the Lannister girl. He reinstated Jaime as, the king's guard in the king guard, even though he betrayed his oath. Robert has plunged the kingdom into debt. That a lot of it is being paid by the Lannisters, or debt to the Lannisters. It seems we get the sense that it's not a regular fantasy story. The king is coming, and you already see how the king is not that powerful. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like he still needs to cater to his allies. He's not like, okay, I'm the king, do that, do that, do that. I want the throne, it's mine. You see that it's like more complicated, more deep than that. It's not the end of the story to be a king. You still need to have powerful allies, even though they're not your friends.
And you can contrast that to Robert's whatever, when Robert was younger and when he was fighting with Ned. Ned is basically idealizing Robert. He was a veritable giant, right? Like a Greek god. And with his famous war hammer and the famous battle of the Trident. So everything, so Ned looks up to Robert. But now he sees him a little bit in a different light. And also he starts away very formal with him, like saying, your grace, Winterfell is yours, like kneeling and kissing, whatever. And I love the part when it says that the children were approved by both sides. It's like, oh, okay, I like those children. Yeah, good. Go ahead.
Well, Ned seems comfortable as being like the second son. So, it's part of his psychology. He says he's a soldier. He likes to he's more comfortable taking orders than giving them, I guess.
Right.
And being in the second in command more than being, at the top of the food chain.
Right. So Robert is like his older brother because they grew up together. We also learned that they grew up together and were friends. So another reason that Robert is depressed, not only the throne, but he was in love with Ned's sister, Lyanna. And she's dead. This is why he wants to go to the crypts to pay his respects. And he has not moved on. He has not moved on since. It's been 15 years. He still loves her.
Yeah, it's kind of it seems like it's kind of like a post-traumatic stress disorder. He's still coming back every day, every night. He's still coming back to the same hurtful moment, hurtful memory, and relives it. And he said, I wish I could kill Rhaegar 1,000 times or something. So it's kind of like a post-traumatic stress, which will, explain why he drinks a lot.
And also that contrasts with the previous chapter by Daenerys, where she says that Rhaegar died for the woman he loved. And now that same woman, Robert, went to war to save the woman he loved. This is why he hates Rhaegar, right? Because he believes that he kidnapped her. And I wonder if subconsciously he knows that he has been spurned in some way. Maybe this is why he can't let it go. I don't know if we can ever know, of course. But, okay, so you had a lover, but it's been 15 years ago.
Cockle.
Hmm?
He was cockle.
Right, like this is the woman that got away.
Yeah, and for somebody like Robert being cockle, you never forget that.
We also get a little bit of memories from Ned about Lyanna. Apparently, he promised her something. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what it could be?
I'm kind of skeptical about this love that Robert has or had towards Lyanna. It seems like, he's the kind of guy that after he conquers, so he gets bored. So I think the fact that he's stuck on her after so many years is because he didn't conquer her. He loved her, but after he would have conquered her,
But
he'd probably get bored.
and also, did he know her that well? Like, they lived like hundreds of kilometers, miles apart. How often did they see each other? Did he love her that much to remember it 15 years later? I agree with you. Come on, come on. So the only time between those, like in those 15 years that Robert was happy, so we get the sense, is when another house, the Greyjoys, decided that they want to do a Western exit, right, a Brexit, and they want to be like their own kingdom. But no referendum, just war, because in a feudal system you cannot separate yourself, be a separatist quick kingdom. That's not in the rule book, I guess, unless you win. And so Robert doesn't really care about ruling, but he cares if you take his girlfriend or if you break your word. But ruling, actual ruling, nah. He's like the wall, like Ned is telling him we have problems at the wall and this and that. He's like, I have more pressing concerns. Yeah.
Towards the end of the chapter, Robert says to Ned the real reason he came here, to bring him back to King's Landing, for him to help him, and finally connect their two houses, marrying Sansa, Ned's eldest daughter, to what's his name, Joffrey.
We don't know them yet. I don't know if it's gonna work out. I think Jeffrey.
One of the Lannister, one of the boys, Robert's boys.
Whoever.
In the Middle Ages, that was a way to connect between families. It's like when Facebook purchased WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is still WhatsApp, but now it's part of the Facebook family, along with Instagram and other apps or whatever. Oh, it's kind of like a business venture, but when you're like lords and kings, it means something else. It means that the family will be connected, and their children, Sansa and Robert's son, their children will be Baratheons, basically.
Right.
So.
Right.
That's a great honor to any lord to get the king's heir to marry your daughter. That's like a big deal. That means your grandkid, for Ned, it means his grandchild will be king. So a Stark will be king.
Fingers crossed.
My favorite part was the crypts.
But we're gonna talk about our favorite parts later in the video.
I'll just talk about it now.
Sorry, sir.
The crypts, the crypts in Winterfell, they're shrouded in mystery. They go back thousands of times, and I liked it because it's kind of like fitting to the northern motto, the North remembers, and having this the pater's familia of the past still lying there with their swords, and it's kind of like how the past is really present in northern society, which kind of explain why they're so backwards, I guess. I don't know. There's too much past there, and the crypts are the symbol of that. So I like that a lot.
Right, and it's not like in a graveyard, like tucked away. It's right beneath their home. That also tells you something. Okay, two things I liked. They are not my favorite, but I like them. When they talk about Jon Arryn dying away really quickly, suspiciously you might add, but they have no idea who has caused that. That someone has done that deliberately in order to advance these exact events. Absolutely clueless about Littlefinger. So much so that Robert says that Lysa is mad with grief. That's how he views Lysa. So they have no idea what the guy is doing. Okay, so maybe, I don't know, like the only arc that I could find for the chapter was that it starts like really like festively with this procession and beautiful people and everything is beautiful, whatever, and grand. And then it ends underground with the words, if I remember correctly, Ned Stark knew that winter was coming. So it starts like hopeful and interesting. Wow, look at this! Is like the king's procession. This is once in a lifetime event for anyone in the North Sea. But it ends with a feeling that okay, and it ends like this: Eddard Stark was filled with a terrible sense of foreboding. This was his place here in the North. He could feel the eyes of the dead. They were all listening. He knew, and winter was coming.
Winter's always coming for Ned.
Every day, winter is coming. When Robert and Ned talk, because Robert is now in King's Landing, but also he's a Southerner, we also learn a lot more about the differences between the North and the South, right?
Yeah, the North is kind of like the Wild West of Westeros. It's huge. It's the size of half of the kingdom.
Right.
And it's scarcely populated, barely populated, and there are a lot of stories there, a lot of weird people, native people with their animals and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's like the Wild West.
It's not fun at all, and he says that the South is full of life, like it's sweet and all. He's talking about all the fruits that are there and all the sex that is happening and the flowers. Oh my God, the flowers! And so hot, and here it's cold. And again, foreshadowing about change that is coming, is saying, Robert, what will this place be like in winter? I shudder to think. What will it be like in winter? Also about the winter. The winters are hard, Ned says. But the Starks will endure. They always have. Bold prediction, a Stark will sit on the throne. Bold prediction.
So this chapter is a setup chapter for the rest of the story. Like most, first chapters. Pieces are moving now. Nobody will stay in the same place. Ned, no one will stay in his or hers comfort zone.
Also, I love the fact that they talk a lot about the past. Like in detail, this happened and that happens. And let's acknowledge the fact that when Robert offers Ned whatever to be Hand of the King, he's doing that in a graveyard. That's kind of ominous. But when they talk about the future, it's like they don't even care. It's like this or that. The past is more important than the future for those two guys, because death is coming. So we're gotten to the part where I talk about a piece of writing that I either disliked or liked. Up to now, I think it was disliked, but I have something I really liked here. Of course, I liked a lot of stuff, but this specifically. Smell of leather and blood clung to Robert like perfume. Now it was perfume that clung to him like perfume. That's nice. Okay, so we got to the favorite moment in the chapter. You already had your favorite moment. And also your mic is not working properly.
Yeah, but I still hold it.
Okay, so you just stay silent, and this is my favorite part of the story. Basically, we learn like straight out of the gate that Ned is a horrible politician, and he's gonna be the most horrible Hand of the King ever. Like the first thing that he says, first of all, he doesn't understand why it's a problem for him to foster Robin, who has been already offered to be fostered at Tywin's. He's like, I don't care. So he's clueless. And his actual first advice is for Robin, the son of Jon Arryn, to be Warden of the East. Why? Because that's how it's always been. This is conservative, rigid, stupid, makes no sense at all. He's a boy, a sickly boy. What does it give me, the king, to make him Warden of the East? He doesn't even understand the basic principles of politics, like negotiating, getting
Hand
something.
of the King, even.
Right, like you're supposed to get something. It's supposed if you're a hand of the king, you're supposed to give the king advice that will serve him, not just like tell him this is how it is. He told him you owe it to his dad, basically. No, his dad is dead. I want to keep the kingdom up in one piece. Come on, come on. And so Robert just tells him, okay, I don't owe him anything because I was his lord and liege and he swore to me. So that's it. So I don't have a good feeling about Ned as a hand of the king. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
You'll have to continue.
I don't know about this Ned guy.
Yeah.
I know, I know he's the hero of the story. He's like the main character. I know, but I don't know. I have like a bad feeling about him.
But he can't die if he's the hero of the story. He's good. He's a good guy.
Yeah, no. So maybe he'll be like in jail or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. And if you want to find out what happens to Ned, you have to subscribe to get our future rereading videos. And you can go back to all our rereading videos up to now. We want to post more videos of the rereading, get a little bit more quickly, the chapters.
And support us on Patreon. Become our patron. We appreciate that. You know, we can, if you put $5, we can chat every month. You get exclusive content only for patrons. And we have a lot of stuff there. So
check it out.
Take care.
So check it out.
Check it out.
And we'll see you all next time. Bye, Tamar, and bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.